Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Wednesday. Today we return to that phrase, the just shall live by faith. We read about it in Habakkuk chapter 2. We read about it in Romans chapter 1. Today in Galatians chapter 3, Paul says, "But no one is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident. For the just shall live by their faith." Talking about the difference of living by the law and by faith, he says in Galatians 3 and verse 10, "For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse." You see, Paul is telling these new Christians they can't be justified by keeping the law. Even the Old Testament people were not justified by keeping the law. It was a schoolmaster. It was mostly to tell them when they had sinned, because no one can keep the law perfectly. And he said if you transgress any part of it, you certainly have transgressed against it all. So no one is justified by the works of the law in the sight of God. So many people today pride themselves in keeping a set of rules, I can keep this and I do this. I don't do that, It doesn't matter whether it's a short list of rules or a long list of rules. They pride themselves in this, and that's not what the Bible says justifies man. Being justified means having a right standing before God. Standing before God just as if you had never sinned. And that will never come by following rules or the law. He said that is evident here. So what does it mean here? The just shall live by faith. It reminds us that the only way to be justified before an almighty and holy God is to trust in his Son, Jesus Christ. And the only sacrifice that was ever able to pay for all my sins. That's why Jesus told his followers in John chapter 14 and verse 6, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but by me." We understand that we are justified before God by our faith in Jesus Christ. And we live by that faith, which is just the opposite of those who live by the rules or by the law. In Paul's day, there were a lot of false teachers that were trying to add things to new Christianity. Add some rules, add some Old Testament sacrifices. Paul said we need to realize that we are only justified by faith in Jesus Christ. But remember, the just shall live by their faith, which doesn't mean just justified by it, but every day it changes the way that we live because we trust in Jesus Christ. We continue our daily life by trusting in him to cleanse us from our sin, to guide us in our everyday lives. We trust him to take us to heaven after this life is over. So I hope today and every day we are living by our faith.